is actually to recess the regular meeting and start a public meeting for Division 22 Standards and Compliance. This is an annual statutory obligation. And so with that, we will open the public meeting for Division 22 Standards and Compliance. Superintendent Barry?
Yes, thank you, Chair Campbell. In your board book, you do have the slides about this. I'm not going to go through all these slides, but this is an annual compliance requirement for all school districts. They have modified the time. Usually we do this in February, but I appreciate the change because it's more timely now to report on last year's standards. We did meet all of our standards for Division 22. This year, moving forward, the challenge is going to be the PE requirement that we've talked about quite a bit. As that increases at the elementary and middle school, our schedules are need to be creative to meet that requirement. But that's a discussion that's happening with all the districts around locally and around the state as well. And there may be some legislation this next session to address that. But with that, we have, and thanks to Denise and our team at the district office, we have all Division 22 standards reporting with this notebook, and we will also post that on our website. And then if there's any public comment, we'd welcome that.
Okay, is there any public comment specific to the Division 22 Standards and Compliance? Okay, hearing none. Any questions from the board? Okay, with that, we will close the Division 22 meeting and return to the regular meeting. And the next item is Accentuate the Positive. Who's going first? Go, come up and grab the mic, Dave. Thank you.
We had an amazing homecoming week, thanks in part to our amazing students and staff. A lot of really good stuff. We survived it for the most part, but we just had a lot of fun, a lot of positives, great parade. It's fun to have the parade for the first time in 3 years. Just all the different things that really led us to celebrate. And this week, then we go right into our senior week stuff. It's our final week of athletics for some of our sports. So we're finishing up and honoring our seniors there. Progress reports went out. So we've got some kids refocusing their efforts where they're at right now. So we're just things are going well. Mr. Valier, do you want to add anything? Good to go. Yeah, so the parade was a ton of fun. So we really feel happy to have that back. And we're everything else is going well. We just had our Student of the Month celebration down in the theater. And again, it just shows all the different things we can have going on in here at the same time. On weekends, just about every weekend, we have events in the stadium, in the gyms. Last week, we had our Hall of Fame banquet. Last Saturday night, we had 120 people here for that. So it's the first time since 2014 that we're able to do that. So we're really pleased to have that process going again, too. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Dave. I'm Catherine Holden. I'm the principal of Talent Middle. I want to recognize that on Tuesday evening, we had a really amazing Latino parent night. Erica Ochoa organized that, and we had over 30 families represented. So it felt like a huge success. Really nice dinner was provided, a lot of interest, a lot of community building, and yeah, just really positive experience. And I wanted to recognize our bilingual that helped support that. Jackie Weber, Myra Gutierrez, Jessica Morga, and Diana Martinez were all there and really welcoming our families. So we really appreciated that. As well, Jamar Boyd, our instructional coach, led a great staff meeting on Tuesday afternoon. It was just a really positive experience where we worked on staff and really coming together to recognize how we can support each other and make for a very warm, welcoming environment. So it felt like a really good staff activity. But holding it close enough, but we're getting our student recognition up and going again, kind of a reboot on that. And so our teachers have come together to recognize, we've just now kind of collected some names of students who we're going to recognize as a Shining Star Award, and also a Rising Star Award, really recognizing students, doing the right thing. And then also ones that we've seen really good improvement over the last month. And so that'll be kind of like our Student of the Month award, but we're really thinking about it with some different themes and some really recognizing positive growth in the right direction. So we're excited to get that going. And here's Heather.
Good morning. It's so fun to say good morning for a board meeting. Heather Lowe from Talon Elementary. As you know, we've got some good stuff going on tomorrow. We have our annual Pink and Denim Day. And if you recall, that's the day when our staff, well, all of October, we kind of rally together to support local residents who are going through a cancer treatment. So staff donates their money. We dress in pink and denim. And this year we are inviting our whole school community to participate in partnering that with our fun run for the week or for the month. So tomorrow should be really fun. We are going to have balloons, and just a special shout out to Carly Richardson. She's our new PE teacher. She's done a great job organizing that, along with, coach's guidance, which we always love. Also, I just want to give a shout out to Corinne Calhoun and Sarah Burt. Part of our shipment came from Amplify, thank goodness. But that's also chaotic in the middle of a school year to go through pallets upon pallets upon pallets and get all of those books marked, barcoded, and delivered. So they've just been working around the clock on that. So thanks to those guys. I do want to give you a heads up. We are having another trunk or treat event on Halloween, which should be really fun. I think last year was incredible turnout. I'm guessing it's going to be even bigger this year. So if you want to come by, that'll start at 1. And then lastly, we had an awesome in-service, and just kudos to district office for the really good sessions. There was tons. Like I went to a bunch of Amplify meetings. We had people at Playworks. There was just it was a really good in-service last week. So thank you guys. And then I am reporting, speaking of in-service, for Brandon. He's unable to make it today, but he wanted to share that part of the in-service was exploring this new concept of structured play at recess. So people from all elementary schools participated in this. It's called Playworks. And so it's a way to teach kids, how to strategically play a game and manage conflict, which can happen on recess. So we're looking forward to expanding that program. And he said he's really excited to bring more parent volunteers through that. So that's it from TES and Fortune Hill.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Shauna Schleif, principal at Phoenix Elementary School, and I just want to echo everything Heather just shared. I want to add a little bit too in terms of just the Amplify curriculum coming. That's a big weight lifted off of people's shoulders, and I just want to recognize our media managers for helping with all of the barcoding as well, because all of our media managers are playing a role in that. Want to give another shout out. It's been a busy month, like it has been at every other school, but we also started our jogathon this week. And I want to give a shout out to both Heidi, our PE teacher, for organizing that. It's been beautiful weather. I know we need rain, but it's been really awesome for having outdoor activities. Also want to share, Joe has been amazing at being elevating all of these events by creating these really fun videos. So if you're on social media, you can see all of our events that have been happening, and just want to say thank you, Joe, because those are really sweet captures of our sweet events. I want to highlight some new employees. We have Molly Wildman and Sally Connors are our new Hugs people, and they're both new in this role, and they've just been instrumental in helping support students and staff and helping to keep students regulated and helping them work through challenging situations. So I just want to recognize both of them for their hard work and just their amazing efforts in helping students. And then along with that, I just want to also share that Nubia Pineda is our new family liaison. And again, she's making some great connections with our families and just been a real positive addition to the PES staff. So I want to publicly thank her as well. And that's it from PES.
Good morning, board members. Aaron Santi, Phoenix Talent Rising Academy. Just a few notes from PTRA. Our attendance is really great so far this year. Our elementary attendance is 100% since the beginning of the year, which is pretty amazing. And overall, we're at 97%. And that includes some high schoolers we just took on 2 weeks ago through our PTVA. So we're partnering with the high school right now as well. Also, we've got a field trip coming up. We have a school-wide field trip coming up to Pheasant Field Farms on next Friday, the 28th. Want to make you guys aware of that. And it's all the usual stuff, hay rides, corn mazes, and all the cool stuff. The kids love it. It was great last year. Also, we've expanded our Friday in-person social time. Last year, we were offering social time for students to come in, get help with work, hang out with kids, do other kids, and do some recess. Now we're doing some science in the K-5 when they come in. So 2 weeks ago, we grew crystals, which was pretty cool. It's slower than you think, though. It doesn't happen like immediately. It had been a long time since I did it, so I forgot. But I was like, okay, let's go. But it took a couple days. But the result was cool. And this week, we're going to be making fossils. I don't even know what that means because I don't know how you make a fossil, but that's what we're doing. And then on the assessment side, the Oregon Student Health Survey is coming up. And so our 6th, 8th, and 11th graders district-wide, you guys are some of your 11th graders, will be doing that assessment. And so it used to be called the Oregon Healthy Teen Survey. And so we're going to be looking forward to getting the information from that as to how our students are doing emotionally, mentally, and physically. And that's it from me. Who else wants to share? Amy, come on up.
Thank you. And good morning, Amy, food service. So great news for us. As I was jumping up and down last meeting, telling you how excited I was, we actually started this week with the FFVP program at Orchard Hill and Talon Elementary. So we're really excited just to get the new fruits and vegetables out there to the kids and let them try new things. And on that same note, we actually have used up most of our pilot grant already with our local farmers. So we've started the year with Fry Family Farms and Namas pears and JL Orchard apples, peaches, nectarines, and the kids are loving them because I can't seem to get JL Orchards to deliver enough. They keep going through the peaches and pears. So that is all from food service. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from the board?
I'm going to chime in because I had a blast at the parade, even running after Michael as he's driving 30 miles down the way. He wasn't driving, but I had to tell him to slow down because it was so fast. What a great opportunity to see our community come together and to see all of the schools involved. It was so great and long overdue. So I'm just so happy to be a part of that group. So thank you.
I have to echo on the parade. You know, it's one thing, it's so cool to see the community come together to witness the parade and be a part of it, but also to see the community come together to help make it possible, including, you know, I show up to park and Sarah's helping check people in and Dawn is taping up signs. And so everybody's doing their part and it was just a special, special time. So feels good to be doing things like that again, for sure. So, okay, wonderful. Next is citizens' comments. It doesn't look like we have anyone participating online, but is there anyone in person who wishes to address the board? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the superintendent report. Mr. Berry?
Thank you, Chair Campbell. I just have a couple things. First, it was an amazing week last week with homecoming. And the entire high school staff. I know that's a long week and been there, done that. I'd remiss if I didn't say how much we appreciate Dave Earhart, who is here all the time. We had a meeting last night and he drove the golf cart down to the district office and drove it back. So he was, but just amazing and, you know, really putting in the time to make sure kids have a great experience. And he is our athletic director, but he's also assistant principal here too. And sometimes we forget that, but he has definitely a daytime role in our school. So thank you, Dave. It might not have been the first time a mechanical bull has been at the homecoming dance. And I'm grateful that we didn't do anything that it would be the last time. And so that was exciting for our kids as well. And finally, I just had a great lunch with the student rep to kind of prep them for today. And I look forward to having them share. We have some great students that are wanting to serve. So I look forward to that. And that's it.
Wonderful. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a program report that we've reserved for students to come in and ask questions of the board. I understand we have a class coming in, but not until 11:15.
Yeah, it's fifth period,
Okay.
so they'll be here about 11:15, so
Okay.
we can just pause that.
So without objection, we'll just move that item further down the agenda and revisit that when those students can attend. And we definitely look forward to that. And of course, we have our student rep candidates with us today, and we'll get to that in a moment. Next is our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Sarah.
Second.
Moved by Sarah, seconded by Dawn. Any objection? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. And we will now move to action items. And the first action item is to interview and appoint our student representatives to the board. So I'd like to welcome you all. I'll do a little bit of an introduction here. So I have to tell you, this is a very collegial board, and we don't always agree, but we often are able to reach consensus and come to decisions with a lot of decisiveness, with the exception of appointing student reps. And we have gone around and around of trying to find the best way to do this process. And I want you to know that the board has put a lot of thought into how we appoint. And so we're so grateful that you are all interested. We did things a little bit differently this year. One of the things about being a student rep is not just to represent yourself, it's to represent the student body. And so we've asked our students to go out and interview their fellow students about a recent event at school. And that will be part of their interview today. But before we get to that, we just would like to go down the line here and just have you introduce yourself and just share something that you're interested in or something you enjoy about attending school here at Phoenix High, and then we'll get to the official part of the interview process. Go ahead.
Okay, is this better?
There.
Okay, sorry. Okay, my name is Mikhail Potts, and I'm in 10th grade, and something I really enjoy about our school is our sports system, especially swim and soccer.
Hi, my name is May Woodward. I'm a sophomore and a three-sport athlete, and I like the sports program too.
Hi, I'm Peyton Croy. I'm a senior, and I really like the sports and the weight training program.
Hello, I'm Brianna. I'm a junior, and I really enjoy the leadership program and being involved in our school community.
Hi, I'm McKenna Rowenhorst. I'm a senior. I really just love the school. I love it so much. I love our clubs, Taylor Swift Club. I also love Link Crew and I love everything.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I think we'll just go in the same order, and you're welcome to come and sit. Would you like the students to sit in the hot seat here, Brent, or can they stand up and
Whatever you like. If
Okay.
they feel comfortable like that. I
Okay.
will want to say Autumn attended lunch yesterday and then kind of thought about it and mentioned to me today that she's just not sure she wants to do it at this time. So
she had lunch with you and then changed her mind?
that's thank you all for showing up. Yeah. All right.
Okay. So good job. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So we've asked students to pick a recent event that occurred at PHS, including first day of school, first week of advisory lessons, open house, and after school events such as soccer, football, volleyball game, or other. And then we asked them to interview a minimum of 10 students, but a maximum of 15 outside your immediate friend group and record their feedback and asking the following questions. How did you find out about the event? What went well? What could have been improved? Did the participants and audience of the event represent a diverse group of students and families? And if you did not attend, why or why not? And then their presentation to us is to describe your process and findings and be prepared to answer a question during the interview that takes the information you have gathered into consideration. So with that, we'll just go down the line here, and you're welcome to use the space however you want or stay seated. That's totally up to you. And we'll give each of you up to 3 minutes for your presentation, okay?
Michael, can I interrupt?
Yes.
So
Go ahead.
we all met them. Do you want us to maybe
Oh,
introduce
yeah.
ourselves
Sure.
just so that
That's a good idea. Yeah.
we could be like, hey.
Sure. That's
So,
great. Yeah.
why don't you as board chair start?
Okay. Well, good morning. I'm Michael Campbell. I'm the board chair, and it's a pleasure to serve this district and all of you. And I'm really excited about the meeting today. So thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Dawn Watson. I am the vice chair. I've been on the board for going on 10 years, and I'm really glad to see all you guys. This is one of my favorite meetings.
I guess I'll go next. I'm Polly Fairmont. I'm a graduate of Phoenix High School. I have 2 daughters who also graduated here. I'm going to tell a little about myself, sorry. And I'm moving into my 2nd year as a board member, and I feel passionate about this community, and I'm so happy to be here.
Buenos dias, I'm Nancy McKennis, and I have been serving on the board for 2 years now. And my kids have also participated, or actually they've gone through the whole Phoenix Town School District, and I have 2 kiddos that have graduated and one that's in this high school. So nice to meet you all.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Weathers. I've been on the board it's my 2nd year. I have 2 kids in the Phoenix Talent School District. They go to Talent Elementary School, and then I have 1 daughter who graduated from ATA.
Hi, I'm Sarah Crawford. I have been on the school board since 2016, and I have 3 graduates from the district, and my husband coaches baseball, and we're super big groupies. So if you are doing something, you should totally invite us, because we love to come watch your sporting events and watch your band performances and watch your theater things. So if you're thinking of people that you want to come to your stuff, you should just invite us, because we're big groupies. And you guys talked about one of your favorite things from the school. One of mine favorite things is this meeting and meeting students. We have 2 daytime meetings during this school during the year, and this is one of them. The other one's at Talent Middle School, and so this is one of our favorite meetings because we actually get to talk to students. And then the other one is we're the old fogies who hand you the cardboard thing that has your diploma not yet in it and shake your hand at graduation. So that's the other kind of highlight of serving on a school board. So we're super excited to meet you and have you guys be here.
Thank you, Sarah. And for you swimmers, Sarah will be working to get us a pool until her dying day. So yes, she brings it up pretty much every meeting. So she's consistent. All right, wonderful. Okay, we'll go ahead and start with you. Go ahead.
So I interviewed people about the first day of school, and so how everyone found out about it was from their parents. No one else said anything else. And for why they went or why they didn't, everyone went. So they had no why. They just said because they had to. And for the things that could have been improved, everyone really had really positive things to say about it. They really liked it. And the one thing I got was that it could be shorter, but that was just from, I don't know, that was only one person. And what was the other one?
Oh, sorry, let me find my notes here.
Okay, I remember now.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
And so yeah, a lot of people felt like who was running it was a very diverse group, and a lot of diverse families showed up.
Wonderful.
I'm May. I interviewed students about sporting events, so all sporting events. The people I interviewed that did not attend were athletes who said they were too busy to attend. And then people who did attend said that they found out from Dave on the intercom, and then in our comments we have a big screen that says like events that are coming up, so from that and Instagram. And then Um,
What went well? What could have been improved?
the things that went well, students liked that their friends were there. They like hanging out with friends, and it was fun to watch the game. Things that could have gone better, the student sections, the school spirit. People feel like more people could attend those events that aren't. Yeah. And then for diverse representation, the majority of the people I interviewed said yes, they think so, but the people I interviewed that were diverse, African American, Latino, said no, that there weren't. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
I'm Peyton. I interviewed people on homecoming week, the entire week, all of it, because I couldn't pick one. So how people knew about it is it's homecoming week. It's blasted everywhere. Did they participate or attend stuff? Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot. What they liked. One thing was how accessible the dress up days were and how easy it was to find stuff. They didn't have to like panic and like, oh, I need to order this. I need to order this. They had it at home already. The energy. They really liked the energy of the school. It was upbeat. It was happy. They liked the parade and all the involvement with the community and the school. And they liked all the new competitions like the egg toss, the spicy ramen contest. They liked all those fun little competitions. What could be improved? They want more student input on themes for the dance, like what we do for prom, like put it to a student body vote, or at least have them put in themes that the leadership team can vote on. What was really weird to me, the music at the dance. No one really liked the music at the dance for some reason. And they want more creative spirit days and more challenging spirit days and more explanation on whether if the dance is semi-formal or casual. Because a lot of people, I even got text messages from like little freshmen asking me, what do I wear? Do I need a dress? Do I not? I'm so confused. So that's pretty much it. The diversity, there's a lot of families at the parade. There's a lot of there's just a lot of involvement, and everyone was just there. I will have to mention for myself there, I really liked how there's so many families at the He-Man game. That the gym was packed for the He-Man game and Powder Puff, and I just thought that was awesome.
So I interviewed people for the Spirit Week, which is kind of like what Peyton did.
Sorry to interrupt you. Could you just remind us your name
Oh,
again?
my name is Brianna.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. The majority of people said that Week went very well. They really enjoyed it. And then a lot of people also wanted different days because we seem to like have a consistent pattern of like having the same days over and over each year. So, and being more creative with what days we choose. And also we needed more participation, especially from the juniors. A lot of people said that they would really like to see everyone participating, well, as many as possible. And like not being afraid to dress up and worry about what others think of them and just having that school spirit and energy. And then a lot of people heard about it from PHTV during advisory. That was definitely where the majority of people heard it from. We had a few hear it from our Instagram account. And then just from our peers, we hear things that are going on at the school. And something else that they wanted improvement on was just like making sure that everyone knows like what exactly like we should do with dressing up and having more of a vote with like the students being able to vote about our spirit days and what we can do.
Hi, McKenna again. I think it's a reoccurring theme because I did the homecoming assembly, so homecoming's pretty popular. I interviewed like a lot of people. I did a bunch of grade levels. I did people in leadership, and I wanted to get some good input. A lot of people though said they really liked the event, like they loved the Spirit Week. Everyone thought it went great, or well, some people had some other opinions. Um, a lot of seniors were a little upset that we didn't win for the spirit, but everything else. And a lot of people said that we had a diverse group because it was our whole school, and our school is a very diverse school compared to a lot of other schools, which I think is awesome. I love it. I also got some input that um, things that we could improve on might be the mic, but the mic might have been my fault partially. I might have blown it out a little bit when I was getting the seniors a little hyped up for Toga Day. Um, but everything else, everyone loved the games for that we played. We played 2 games. Yeah, and one included pie. And so there's a lot of whipped cream on the floor. And that's what some people said that they wanted to prove on because a lot of people were falling after that game. And so that was pretty funny. But um, all around though, everyone thought it went pretty great. And the most of the reason why people came is because it's an assembly, like you're required to go. um, but the people that said they didn't go, they just had like a free fourth and they just didn't want to go after, which I understand. Um, but yeah, I think that we also could improve on our assemblies, like making sure that people, I know a lot of kids said that they want like more spirit, like Brianna was saying, we want more like people involved, more people just hyped up. I feel like after COVID and everything, and like after we're online, a lot of people think that, oh, I'm like scared to do this. I'm like, oh, a little nervous. So I think that as a school, we just need to work on getting involved again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think at this point, do we have any board members with any follow-up questions that you'd like to ask the panel of students? Or yeah, go ahead.
So, how would you, so the word kind of this year is engagement, right? We're getting back from COVID, which you spoke about, and reaching out to your fellow students and peers, trying to figure out how to. So what are some suggestions maybe that you heard or that you would have to increase school spirit or create engagement or break the ice a little bit? Did you hear any suggestions about how to problem solve through that? Or do you have suggestions on how to do that? And I'd almost like to hear from all of you because you all spoke about that on some level on your presentation.
Okay, well, I'll just go first since I have the mic. I have actually been working with like Miss Robin and Miss Campbell, and we've been talking about a lot how people after COVID, how we haven't been that much involved. And like as link crew and leadership, we're trying to come up with ways that we can get people more involved. A lot of suggestions are that like just the people, like the seniors that have like experienced high school already a lot, they're the ones that kind of like know like the chants, like the spirit and like everything like that. So if the seniors like want to help, that's like what we want to do. Like for the freshmen for Link Crew, we've been trying to encourage them like spirit days and like just like get involved, get encouragement, like just to get everyone involved because it's fun. And I think though that I think we're making a good improvement with that. But I think it will just grow from here. So I'm really excited for that.
So I have some suggestions as well as things that have been floating around. I feel that since like as like a junior and with seniors, I feel that we sort of have that responsibility of like showing up and being there for like our peers and our younger sophomores and freshmen. And I feel that we should try to reach those like juniors and seniors to get more involved and to encourage others. And I feel that we could do that by also encouraging like the juniors by having events for them, just like they do for the freshmen and the sophomores. I feel like we focus a lot on having events for freshmen, which is great. I think that's wonderful. And I think that we should also have certain events for juniors and seniors. That way we can get everyone involved in school spirit, everyone feel like they belong and there's these specific things for them to go through, because as a junior, like our freshman year it was part of COVID. And so our school spirit wasn't fully there. And I think our school as a junior, we're not very involved in our spirit. And I definitely think that having events and different things just designated for juniors and different age groups, but also having like obviously all of us together, will get more involvement, more excitement, and would help us to be like willing to encourage others to participate.
I have some suggestions and some of the stuff that I just hear around like at football games or anything about school spirit and like getting like breaking the ice a little bit. Is that I remember from past years from watching games in like my freshman year, there was a leader. Because if you don't have a leader, no one's gonna do anything. There's either one or two leaders. And I remember for assemblies, it was Ford Fogelman. He would go down and just scream into the mic, and just everyone just started like cheering because he was the already one doing it. He would make a fool of himself. He would run up and down. He was awesome, but he had so much spirit that everyone else just kind of fell in. And like there was always just two and like even 2 to 3 people at volleyball games my freshman year. They would go down to the bottom and cheer. And like Ford, for when we were freshmen, he came over to our side to help us do color shout as a senior. He ditched his senior friends and said, "No, I'm going over here to help the underclassmen so they can get the feel for it." I just think we need more like leadership and more like the seniors need to take more control over the spirit and get the kids to do it, I think.
I totally agree with all of them. We need leaders in our school to bring the spirit back. And I don't think it has to be a senior or sophomore or a junior. It could be sophomore or freshman. It could be all of them. We just need more leaders to like bring that energy instead of just being followers. Like as an underclassman, I know like how it feels to be like, oh, too cool for school. If the seniors aren't like dressing up, then I shouldn't. Everyone should. Okay. Like we just need that leadership in our school. We don't really have it. We don't have a leader, like she said, or even two. We have 0. So
Well, first of all, I think it would be great if we could do a little mini assembly to teach people the cheers, because at the last assembly, not many people knew it. And another thing I think we can do to get more people like included in these days who like feel a little bit more uncomfortable is having students directly talking to them, because having another person directly talking to you like to your face goes a long way. And so I think that could really help get more participation out of these students who feel a little uncomfortable.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Anything else from the board?
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some of you mentioned, interviewing and asking different youth from your school about the wonderful questions that you asked. How did you go about, what was your process in connecting with people that are typically not in your friend group? And what was that experience like? I think some of you did talk about that you talked to a wide range, and I didn't get that from all of you, so I'm just curious.
Well, my plan was to aim for 5 girls and 5 boys that I'm not like normally talking to. And so I went around at lunch, because there's a lot of different groups who hang out at lunch. A lot of people who are like kind of interested in the same things hang out at lunch. And so I just tried to get a couple people from each group.
I did pretty much the same thing as him. At my volleyball game, I went around in the stands and kind of talked to people, talked to kids that were coming from band practice and stuff like that. I tried to figure out their names before so I could be like, "Hey, Michael, do you can I interview you real quick?" And so they'd feel more comfortable since I said their name. So yeah, that was kind of my
My process was I tried not to get just like my senior class, so I wanted to get more classes. So I would walk up and say, "Hi, my name is Peyton. What grade are you in?" and they would tell me, and then I would ask them the questions, and they said okay, and that's basically what I was just trying to do, is just get more of the lower classes, since we're seniors and we're leaving, so it doesn't really matter what we say. So
I also did it at lunch, and what I did was I just tried to find like different groups that I haven't talked to before that maybe um like I would want to just like reach out to different groups of people. I made sure that it was from like freshmen and seniors and juniors and sophomores, leaving like no class out. So that way I get input from different classes. And I sort of just like tried to make them comfortable as well, and just like, hey, like I would like to ask you some questions. It's okay if you don't want to answer. It's just and a lot of them were actually really nice about it. They all like really felt a lot of them felt pretty like passionate about sharing their thoughts on our school spirit, and I thought that was really like great, and it made me really happy. So
Um, I just love talking to everyone around school. I love talking to people. I love talking to different types of people, so that wasn't really hard for me. Kind of just went around like the hallways and different classes, just like whenever I could get the chance. And I would just talk to like boys, girls, the different sexual orientation, just everything like that could involve like different diversity. And I loved hearing like what they had to say about the assembly. I thought it was really cool, and people had really good thoughts, and they were actually, Brianna said, they were really passionate about the assembly. And I feel like when you are asking like the people, they are more prone to like actually tell you like what they have to like say. Like some people, like they don't have, like some people who aren't like leaders, they're like a little nervous like to share their opinions, but when you ask them, they actually do have like thoughts and opinions. It was really great to hear. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that passion that, you put yourself out there in a warm and gentle approach to really engage and involve people. That's great. And if I'm writing, it's just because I'm writing notes, because that's the way I learn and remember things better.
Any more questions? I'd like to thank you all for your interest. I think we have 5 incredible leaders at Phoenix High School here in front of us. And this is going to be a very difficult decision for the board, I can tell you. But I just appreciate, and I hope this process and experience was rewarding for you and sort of forced you to do something that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise, maybe you would have. But in talking to a diverse group of students and their experience. So no matter what happens with who we appoint today, I encourage you to keep doing that. Okay, so we are going to take a brief recess. The board's going to just walk over into the supply room here, and we're going to tabulate our choices, and we'll come back and announce our decision. And then at that point, we're going to take another recess. And at that point, you're welcome to either stay or continue to for the rest of the board meeting. So we'll take a brief recess, and we'll be right back. All right, we have reconvened, and the board has made a decision. It was very close, and I just have to say, I think if we all had our druthers, we would appoint all of you. Just logistically, it's challenging. You can see just the physical space. Having 5 people is very difficult, and so we will be appointing 3 people to the board, and the students that we have chosen are McKenna, Brianna, and Peyton. So congratulations. And I want to say, Mikhail and May, Phoenix High School is in really good hands having you here as student leaders. And I want to encourage you to continue to be involved and show up and do the things that you said you desire for the school. And please, there are so many leadership opportunities at Phoenix High School, some that you may not even know about, such as SSA. And so I encourage you to please talk to Ms. Cross and look for opportunities to be involved, because both of you are wonderful, and we're very, very happy to have you here at our wonderful school and district. So to the 3 of you, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you at the next board meeting. All right. Thank you guys very much. Let's give them a round of applause. Any more comments from the board? Okay, we're going to take another brief recess. We're sort of stalling for time a bit for the class to come in. So students, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting or leave if you have to go back to class. Okay, very good. Oh, you're in the class that's coming. Okay, so you'll be here. All right, so we're going to take another, let's see, we'll take 7 minutes and then we'll reconvene and finish the meeting. So thank you all so much. All right. She's outside. Thank you. Here she comes. Okay. Just to make sure we can get through the agenda today, we're going to keep rolling. The next item is board policy IGB-AFAR, Special Education Individualized Education Program. So do I have a motion for this action item?
I move we approve IGBAF and the AR, or do it just IGBAF as presented?
Yes.
Have discussion first, or
We're gonna move in second, and then we'll have discussion, and then we'll vote.
okay, I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion. That was moved by Sarah, seconded by Polly. Questions or discussion on this policy? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. Nancy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Dawn.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes. Next is IGBB, Talented and Gifted Program and or Services.
I make a motion.
Okay.
I move to adopt changes to the board policy IGBB, Talented and Gifted Program and or Services as presented.
I second that.
So as presented, it's for deletion. So is that what we're doing? IGBBC.
IGBB.
Oh, not C. Okay, my bad. Apologies.
Thank you for checking though. Appreciate that.
The ones that were deleted, I think we consent agenda. So, and these have to be actually formally action item by the board.
Okay, thanks for the
Yeah, you bet.
All right, any more discussion? Okay, Nancy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Policy is passed. IGBBAR, complaints regarding the Talented and Gifted Program. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I move to adopt changes to board policy IGBB-AR, complaints regarding the Talented Gifted Program and or services as presented.
I'll second.
moved by Polly, seconded by Sarah. Discussion? Welcome. We'll start over here. Polly,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Policy is passed. Next item is IGBBA, identification, talented and gifted students.
I move to adopt changes to board policy IGBBA, identification talented and gifted students as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Moved by Rebecca, seconded by Polly. Discussion? Okay, take it to a vote. Nancy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Dawn.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes. And the last one, IGBB AAR, appeal procedure.
I move approval of board policy IGBBAAR as presented.
Second.
Moved by Sarah, seconded by Dawn. Discussion? Okay, Nancy,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Polly,
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes. And that's all of our policies. We'd like to welcome our students. You are what, fourth period? What's the class?
Fifth period.
Fifth period? What's the class? AP Gov. Okay, well, you're in the right place. Welcome. It's good.
What can you teach us? We're here to learn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mr. Cornett's here. Welcome, Mr. Cornett. Well, you've missed quite a meeting. We've done Division 22 standards. We heard from our administrators, and we appointed our new student reps to the board, including McKenna and Peyton, who are here sitting with you. So congratulations to them. And I'll just turn it to you to tell us what we're doing next.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Campbell. First of all, yeah, fifth period AP Government. Thank you, Mr. Cornett, for allowing your class to join us for 15 or 20 minutes. I know the board really values this time to hear from students. I met with this group a couple days ago, I think, and I didn't want to leave. It was such a great class, good discussion, fun group, and just talked about kind of the process and some questions they may have of the board about kind of what is your role, what does the school board do, maybe some other types of questions. So when we get into that, we will kind of pass the mic around, and those students that wish to ask a question, we can go kind of forward with that. But if you don't know me, we'll go through introductions. My name is Brent Berry. I'm the superintendent. This is my 6th year as superintendent, but I've been in this district for 19 years, and I see some former Orchard Hill Hawks in there in that group. So done a variety of jobs, and just love this district. The executive assistant for the school board and the superintendent is Denise Skinner. And so she keeps us all kind of organized. And then I think I'll just turn it over to Polly to share.
I'm Polly Fairmont. I'm sure you can hear me. I am a graduate of Phoenix High School. I have 2 daughters who have graduated here. Some of you might know Miss Fairmont, who teaches business now. That's my daughter. Happy to be a part of this community, and I love our AP program at this school. It helped, I know my last daughter, Carly, graduate in 2 years from U of O recently. So I commend you on choosing that course in your studies. I'm really glad you're here.
Hi, I'm Dawn Watson. I have been on the board for 10 years. I have 2 children who graduated from Phoenix High School. They started, all their schooling was through Phoenix School District. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say and your questions, and these are one of my favorite meetings.
Well, good. It's still morning, right? Good morning. I'm Michael Campbell. I'm the board chair. I'm a local business person, and I happen to be married to a teacher who teaches here, Mrs. Campbell. And our oldest, Nora, just started kindergarten this year at Orchard Hill. So unlike some of my colleagues, we're just getting started on the school thing. I care about public education and making sure that we're supporting students and that you can be successful. So thank you for taking the time to come in here today. You may have not had a choice, but I'm glad that you're here, and I'm looking forward to hearing your questions. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Crawford. I've been on the school board since 2016, and I have 3 graduates from the Phoenix High School, Phoenix Talent School District. There we go. And again, this is one of our favorite meetings. Love hearing what you have to say, being willing to answer questions. Just so you know, we're all volunteers. We're locally elected and serve 4-year terms. Some of us filled vacancies to start out, and but really the value of being a school board member is getting to meet students and just oversee. We only have one employee, which is Brent Berry. The board hired a superintendent who then ably takes care of all of the running of the district with a really great admin team. So he does all of that, and I call us the community Joe Schmoes that just kind of oversee and do what we can to advocate for the best public education experience that you can have. So super happy to be here and meet you.
I'm Rebecca Weathers. I've been on the school board for almost 2 years now. I have 2 kiddos that go to school at Talent Elementary School, and then I have one daughter who graduated from ATI.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Nancy McKennis. Good morning, I'm Nancy McKennis, and it's a pleasure to get to serve you in this manner being on the school board. I've been here for 2 years, and all of my kiddos have gone through the Phoenix Talent School District. And a passion of mine is to seek ways in which we can meaningfully serve our students and families, and also being really thoughtful about how we engage students and families, because we all have a little bit of a different background, different experiences, different levels of accessibility. So to me, that is really, really important, is really looking at ways in which we meet the needs of our students in a way that seems meaningful and respectful and dignified to each of you. Placer estar aquí con ustedes.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Cornett did have a choice.
Yes, he did.
Attend or not. So,
That's good.
thank you.
That
know-
choice is to join cross country or track.
Yes, that's
Just saying.
Believe me.
I got the deal.
That
now.
was one of the first questions I got in
Yeah.
there when I visited this class. You're not going to ask us to join cross country or track, are you? But no, yeah, so kind of the floor is open. If you want to make sure that when you ask your question, just share your name and then kind of your question, and make sure the microphone's fairly close so we can all hear. And I think I mentioned this, that the board will kind of take turns answering. Some may have more familiarity to the question than others. And they might kick it to staff to answer as well. So just so you know, we are a 7-member board. We do have Rick Nagel, who's been on the board for 22 plus years, who's unable to make it today, but he's our other member of our board. So who would like to start? Julius? Okay.
Hello, I'm Julius Bolstad. I went to kindergarten at Talent Elementary, and I've been in the school district ever since. My question is, how do you guys go about making decisions as a whole group? Like if there's half one way, half another, how does that work?
Who would like to answer it? Don? Sure.
Thank you, Michael. We vote on it, and well, we have discussion. This board is really good at listening and having really good discussion. And then at the end, we vote on it, and whoever has the most votes, that's what we do. Not often is it where it's very contentious, and our board always agrees that if, for instance, I voted no, a majority voted yes, that I will support the yes vote. Just as I voted yes, because it's important to support moving forward, because it's really all about what's best for the students. And so that's what we do.
I kind of want to chime in and say that as a newer member of the board, that I have questions because I had, no matter what you do and how many board meetings you attend, you still don't really understand what the board does. And I felt really comfortable asking questions about how we did things or what we were doing. And it's wonderful to be with a group of people who allows you to ask these questions. You don't feel stupid asking them. And then if you do have a different opinion, it's really okay. And that we can come to a consensus like that. And that's what I love most about serving in this opportunity as a board member.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is important to know is any official decision the board makes has to be made through a democratic process. We put it on the agenda for an action item. There's a motion and a second, and then there's discussion, and then all the board members listen to that discussion, and then we take it to a vote, and the majority vote either decides to pass or not pass that motion that was put before the board. And the board cannot make decisions outside of a public meeting like this. So this meeting that we're here right now, any member of the public can attend. That's to make sure there's transparency in how we are managing basically public funds and resources, because public schools are funded by all of us, the taxpayers, and decisions have to be made in the public eye. So, yeah, does that answer your question, Julius? Congratulations, by the way, homecoming king. Yeah. All right. What else?
Hello, my name is Ian Tringolo, and I was curious about how often you meet to make changes in the curriculum of the district.
That's a really good question. You want to start with that, and then
yeah, and then I might
yeah.
kick it over to Assistant Superintendent Lambert. But there is a cycle that we go through when we choose curriculum, and then there's a whole process that goes with that to make sure that there is transparency and opportunity for the public to comment and review materials. And Ms. Lambert's an expert at that, and she'll fill you in.
I was going to recruit. If anybody wants to be on a curriculum adoption committee, they're tons of fun. But actually, it's interesting to look at different curriculum options. Generally, for subjects, it's every 7 years. The Oregon Department of Education puts out which curriculum materials meet the state standards or the Common Core state standards that we can consider for that. And then they do some public bidding because curriculum is very expensive. So we have to get like the lowest cost that we can for that. So generally 7 years. I say generally because it got postponed for a few years due to the pandemic. So we're about 9 years behind, or about 9 years right now. We're on track in our district. Our next up should be science to consider.
Once a subject comes up, how long does it typically take from time to tackle science to let's have a vote on science? So, I mean, just wild guess out of curiosity.
It takes about a year for our committee process. So we know it's coming. We wait until we get information from the of Education, teachers, administrators, process. Then we form our own district committee. Takes us a year as a committee to review. Sometimes we do pilots in classrooms, like to try some lessons out. We've been lately having, we have a cultural responsiveness checklist that we're making sure that our materials present the diversity of our student body population. And then we give it to our recommendations as a committee to the school board. So the school board must approve all curriculum. It's also public viewing. Sorry, the mic, if I turn my head a little bit, goes. So about a year.
I also might mention, you may be thinking to yourself, the book I've been reading is way more than 7 years old. There have been times where budgets have been tight. I mean, these are $1 million decisions when you adopt a curriculum. And so oftentimes you do have the option to, continue with the same curriculum as well. We're in a financially stable-ish time right now. And so we do have some resources to purchase curriculum. So that's good.
Very good question. You guys are bringing the heat right off the bat. I like it. What else? And by the way, if you're wondering why we have to pass the mic around and make sure everyone has the mic, it's because we are streaming the board meeting today. We stream every meeting, and we have to make sure we can capture what everyone's saying in a microphone for those of us who may be watching now or watching later. So that's why we have to do that. All right, go ahead.
Is this better? Ah, there we go. Hi, I'm London. I'm wondering when you guys make decisions that directly affect the students, like a dress code, where funding goes, what curriculums are, what's the word, like being used and stuff, and you get a negative reaction, what do you do about that?
I have so many follow-up questions. So a negative reaction from whom? Are you talking about public or from us or from students? Okay, yeah, good question. Okay, has anyone had that experience? Brent, do you want to start or?
Yeah, I think I'll just start by when we're making decisions that really impact students. I think first and foremost, we want to have student buy-in and student discussions on any decision that may be impacting the everyday lives of students in our district. So that's, as we're going through that process, we will make sure that we have student voice. There are some decisions that we may have to make that do have a negative reaction based on just certain criteria or what we are and who we are as a public school, because we're bound by guidelines and state law and things of that nature. But I think that's why it's important to have that democratic process and student input. And if there's something that's not agreeable in your eyes or anybody eyes in the public, that there's a process for that to discuss. And I'll tell you what, we have policies. First of all, there's thousands of policies that govern our school district and any other school district in the state. This board took on the challenge of updating all thousand plus policies in the last year, a huge, gigantic undertaking. We had policies that were from 1984 in our policy book, which some of those aren't relevant or even necessary. And so that was a big undertaking. Now, with Denise's help, thank goodness, we have more up-to-date policies, and we review those and we get feedback on those. And we may have a public comment or some feedback to say, hey, would you like to review this policy? And that's kind of the process that we go through. That's a very good question.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to add to that?
So just to say, right before your class came in, we just elected, that's the right word, right? Appointed probably is better, student representatives to the board. One of them's in your AP class, McKenna, right? And Peyton, so two of them are here today, and part of the goal for our board is to hear student voice and to have that be part of the process. So the two of them with, why did I lose the other? Brianna, who's a junior, you can come and offer public comment as a citizen or as a student. You can come and give public comment at any board meeting. There's an opportunity to do that at the beginning. Or as a student, you can engage with your student representative to share your voice and bring your opinion about anything that's on the agenda to the board meeting. So there's lots of opportunity to have your voice heard.
Okay. Anything else? All right, more questions?
Hi, my name is Sean Stevenson. I'm a new student to the Phoenix Talent District, and during my time here, I've kind of noticed that there is an existing liberal arts program, but I was kind of curious if you guys have thought about putting more into what's already here, kind of like music, drama, art, those sorts of programs.
One of the first standing ovations from a question ever.
So the pandemic, okay, was really hard on music and theater and band classes, right? So trying to do that in an online forum was challenging. And then when you guys were able to come back into the building, there were little hoodie things that were put over the bells, right? So that extra particles didn't make it into the air. So those have been and then we had a big fire that impacted our enrollment. And so we've been a district that's been able to offer a lot of different programs, varied programs throughout. And but due to the amount of enrollment, it's really skewed the amount of how many were interested. So one of the things that we've talked about is looking at like a long range performing arts plan so that we can strategically grow those programs back to where they were. And one of the things that as a district has happened is the investment back in elementary music education, because for how long? 10, 12, 9 years, 10 years, we haven't had that supporting program to then build up. And the reality is, right, it's a whole, you learn science from K through 12. You don't just learn it, right? So having those supporting programs in elementary helps build those programs through middle school and high school. So we're really thankful. I'll speak personally. I'm very thankful that we've been able as a district to dedicate funds to music education again in our elementary school. And I think that that's supported. I know I'm not the only one. And so we're looking forward to growing those programs back to where they were and even stronger. So it's coming. I'm sorry, it's not here right this moment, but it's important. And we did put a big line item in our budget this last year to replace a lot of musical instruments that it was time. And that's one of the things that as we kind of strategically look at resources and where to put them. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. That was well said. And we've already seen an impact right away from our band numbers at the middle school just by having some music education at the elementary level. And Mr. DeRose, I'm not sure how long he will be able to do it because his program will get larger here, but he's been focused on supporting fifth graders in their band experience. And so that is increasing numbers. We hope to do that same thing with vocals and with theater as well. So oftentimes, and this is the job of Ms. Cross and her team in our school district, when those instructors leave or retire, sometimes it's personality driven, and those teachers have really built up a program, and that's hard to replicate with somebody else. And so it's our job to make sure we hire kid connectors to really build those programs. So it's a great question, and welcome, by the way.
Can I ask a quick question? What do you, I didn't catch what your name was. Sean, what do you feel's missing the most here at the high school? Like, why are you asking that question? Why are you curious?
Well, I play violin, so I was kind of more wondering about an orchestra, but
Okay.
overall, it's always good to hear there's a plan for music in general.
Great. Thank you for that.
Mr. Cornett has another question.
Thank you. There's been quite a few references to budgets. Could you take a moment, please, to share with this group sources of funding, be it through taxes, enrollment, and things, honestly, that are not always in our control that could affect that, so that they hear that from the board? I think that have a lot more meaning than my rambling on it and tying everything into running.
Yeah. Do you want to start, and then we can kind of fill in from our perspective too?
Absolutely. That is that really drives what we can provide for our students in our community. as Sarah Crawford kind of mentioned, we've first school in a district our size, specifically Phoenix High School, we offer a number of programs and have a wide variety of opportunities for kids. That's been this foundation of the board when we have budget cuts, when we have things that may be really tough decisions. What the last thing we want to do is let go of great staff and disband some programs that we have. So those are tough decisions, but this board has been very, very good at being able to manage that. So we get funded generally per student. And we have a state school fund that is calculated every year. We send a report up every quarter to the state, and they fund our school district general fund on the amount of students that not only we have enrolled, but you can help us in this by how many people are attending regular attendance, and every day counts for funding as well. So that's how we get our general fund. We also have a number of grants that come through the state that help support our Title I program, some interventions at the elementary level, our special ed and IDEA funds for students with disabilities, a number of grants that we manage as well. As you know, we lost 2,400 homes a little over 2 years ago. And that means students, many that are around the valley that are still coming to our schools, and some that had to find resources and find other places to live and go to school. So when we lose students, that means we lose some funding. That's why it's important to have really rich programs in our districts, because that's what attracts students. The state, after the Alameda fire, has given us a kind of a hold harmless. So however many students we had prior to the Alameda fire, we have that funding security through the end of 2025. So June 30th of 2025. That allows us not to, and I've been really mentioning, not be re-traumatized twice by the Alameda fire. Because if we had to cut staff, cut programs, really not have a solid educational school district and opportunities for kids, that would be traumatizing for us. So the state recognized that. We are 300 plus students down all over the last couple years. And if you put roughly $10,000 times 300, that's a big dollar amount. And so we will be able to, through some natural retirements and some focusing on where we want to spend our funds, when those funds, when we don't have guaranteed funding, we will be at a level to where we match our student enrollment. So and that'll take a lot of decisions by the district and the school board to make sure we get there. You may hear in a board meeting or as we talk, a funding cliff coming up, because there are some federal funds that have been supporting schools as well. Both that ADM security from the state and the federal funds end at the same time. And so that's why it seems like a cliff. So we'll have to be very, very fiscally responsible leading up to that time, and really thoughtful on how we proceed after that. So that was a lot of budget. So,
well, and I think, if you really want to get into the weeds, Google Measure 5 in Oregon, and that was passed in 1990. And that's what essentially changed our tax structure in the state. Rather than funding school districts all locally, now the tax dollars go up to the state, creates the state school fund, and then it's distributed out to the school districts from there. And then we do have taxes that we do levy and collect from property taxes and things like that. But I think all of it still goes to the state and then trickles down. So it's kind of an interesting situation. But funding equals programs and staffing. So as board members, one of our roles is to advocate for our school district. So I know that many of you are the same way. I'm on a texting basis with our local state representatives. I was on the phone with them the day after the Almeida fire, talking about what are we going to do to make sure that we have funding for our school, because we knew the Almeida fire was going to have a big impact. The other thing I'll say is every year we pass a budget, and that involves a budget committee. The committee is made up of all of the board members and then 7 community members who are just people who live in the community who want to be involved and volunteer. And so we go through a whole process in the spring. The superintendent works with his staff to present a proposed budget, and then that goes through a process in those budget committee meetings to pass a budget. But it's amazing the number of different sources of funding from the state, local grants, and things like that. And it's really interesting if you look at some of your teachers and staff members at the school. Sometimes how their salary is paid comes from 7 different sections of where we get funding, depending on what their role is. So I've been a board member now for 7 years between Medford and Phoenix Talent School District, and there's still so much I'm learning. So it's very complicated, convoluted process. But the most important thing is that we are advocating at the legislature for funding for schools. And I hope that you will be involved in that process too, because we're going to need your help and support in that effort.
That's a great segue, because if just another little governmental insight is in January, and really officially in February, I think, there'll be a legislative session at the state, and they will be discussing mostly about the next biennium, the next 2-year cycle of funding for everything from education to healthcare to you name it. There's a lot of competing priorities. We will have a strategy to make sure that we are fighting for kids in our school district and for kids across the state. We can share some things that may land, but you are the ones that they listen to. So that might be an opportunity to get involved. And as it gets closer, we might share some things on how you can get involved.
Just one quick thing, as part of the local budget process, we have a vacancy on our budget committee. So if anyone's parent is interested, there's a vacancy. So we'd love to, there's information on the school district website about how to apply for that. I think it's just a 1-year, it could be a 1 or a 3-year term. So if anyone knows their mom or dad, a parent, someone who lives in the district, there's a vacancy.
Well done. That was very good of you. A good politician never misses an opportunity to plug something. Good job, Sarah. I'm sorry, you haven't mentioned the pool yet. No, just kidding. Oh, that's okay. Good. You got a plan. All right. What else?
Hi, my name is Ash, and I was wondering what's the process of getting a new committee member and how long your terms are?
For the school board?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually state law that sort of dictates that, and it depends on the size of your district and some other things. But we are all elected. We represent one of 2 different zones in the Phoenix Talent District. There's a Medford Phoenix zone and a talent zone. And then we are all elected for 4-year terms, and it alternates. So for instance, this May, there'll be an election for 3 of the board seats. And then 2 years from then, there'll be an election for 4 of the board seats, and it's elected by anyone who's a registered voter and lives in our school district. Is how that works. And it's every 2 years in May, and then the term begins in July, and you serve for 4 years. And sometimes people move or have to resign for various reasons, and when that happens, the board accepts applications, and then there's a process where we interview, kind of like we did with student reps today. We interview those prospective applicants, and then the board votes to appoint them to the board, and they finish out either the rest of the term of the board member they're replacing, or until the next election, whichever comes first. So, yeah, good question.
And
Go ahead.
just for perspective, 3 of us currently serving on the school board all filled vacancies prior to running. So I filled a vacancy back in 2016, and Michael filled a vacancy right before everything
before
shut
the
down.
pandemic,
We weren't
yeah.
sure if Michael shut us all down because
My fault.
he
Yeah.
got on the board and then everything shut down. And then Nancy filled a vacancy in September. So 2 years ago. So and then we were elected in the next election cycle. So
Yeah, good question. How are we doing on time? I don't want to ever stop at the questions, but
I thought that was our buzzer.
oh yeah, I know. Me too.
Oh. I do want to, as a spouse member of a AP teacher, I know every minute is vital. So I'll just kind of ask Mr. Cornett how we're doing. But we said about 4 or 5 questions, and
okay.
And if there's any more, that'd be great. If not, we can get back to
please. We can do a couple more if you guys have a question you'd love to ask.
Please come join us at a board meeting besides the one during the day. That's my challenge to you, to see what's happening. And we want to hear from you. Like, we really do.
And the cookies are amazing.
Yeah, they are. Any other questions? Oh, okay, good. We'll do, yeah, right there.
My name is Nathan Corona, and since this school was built to accommodate for more students, how come we don't have more parking or lockers?
I'm going to let the people on the bond committee answer that question.
So I'll answer the easy question first, the lockers. We did a survey with students to see if they use lockers. We did a survey with staff if they use lockers. We asked different schools that were building or remodeling about their lockers. It was like a whole bunch of consensus of students don't use lockers anymore. They're not a good use of space. Don't put a lot of lockers in. So that was a choice that we had made. The survey was probably before most of you guys were at the high school, because it was like 4 years ago or so, but we did do a survey with all the students about asking for lockers. Parking. The parking is far. I parked there today. It's far away. That was, correct me if I'm wrong, that was a choice to save money so we could put more money in the school. If we built parking where the extra practice field was, it would cost more money and we would have to cut something else. And so it was a very hard choice of the committee. I believe, again, we did surveys out, and everyone was like having more things in the building and for our fields, and that was more important at the time than walking a few 100 feet. It may have changed now, but that was a decision just so we could spend every single penny on something that everyone felt was really important, and parking, unfortunately, was the least amount of importance. New bleachers overdid parking, but Sarah, you can add to that.
right. Well, I've heard a lot about this practice field. Why isn't it parking? But the reality is that practice field gets used. If we didn't have that practice field, we would be in big trouble, because we have many sports and activities that utilize that space. And prior to the fire, I think we were also hoping that we have a significant amount of bike racks that I'm not sure are used as much as they potentially could be. So I think there's, looking towards also other modes of transportation to do that. We recognize that it's an issue. It is part of the conversation, and trying to figure out geographically where we're located, how to leverage more parking. It's a challenge. We're not gonna lie. It's a challenge. So carpool, ride your bike if you can. Walk.
It is, as Christina. We knew that was going to be a challenge, and you're right. So this we have almost 700 kids in this school. This school is built and can accommodate 1,300 students, believe it or not. And you're thinking, where are they going to park? So are we. But now that the Mr. McCaleb, our facilities and maintenance director, we've been talking about how can we restructure our existing parking lots to add more spaces. We do have some spaces within where we could be more efficient. That will take some funding. We'll have to dedicate some funding to that. But thanks for bringing that up, because that's something that we hear about every day and all the time. So, and lockers, you won't believe how expensive lockers are. So part of it was when we had to pare down, we didn't want to necessarily give up some square footage space in classrooms and things of that nature. That's why we did some surveys for kids about the lockers, because when we were doing locker clean out in the old high school, you know, most of them were just sitting empty and things of that nature. So, so that's kind of the decision, why that decision was made. But thanks, good question.
And this is, I think, a good opportunity to make sure we all understand. We talked about funding, right? There's really not funding for facilities in a school budget. We definitely set aside funding for maintenance, but we built this school because as a community, we went out and asked the community, do you support essentially a shared mortgage, right? We're going to buy this house, in our case, this school, and updated facilities together. And here's how much it's going to cost all of us on our property taxes. That's how school facilities are built, and is through a bond, which is like similar to a mortgage that you would get if you were to buy a house. And I hope you all are able to someday. And so with that comes a tremendous responsibility and a limited resource. And that's why when that bond was passed, there's a dollar amount that we try to, you know, come to a consensus of what we need to build a new school and to update our facilities. And then there's a tremendous amount of work that goes on by members of the community to decide what to do with the money. And so it's a very interesting process, and there's always going to be things that, you know, we wish we could maybe have more or do differently, and that's because there's that limited resource of what we think or what the community says we're willing to afford when it comes to upgrading and building new facilities. So we're very thankful for our community for supporting that and helping us build this beautiful new school and upgrade our facilities throughout the district. But yeah, there's always something we wish we had: more space, more parking, more resources. I know that Mr. Berry has looked into some creative solutions, potentially looking at some neighboring properties. And so we'll continue to always keep things in mind and be looking for solutions to improve the parking situation. I think we'll have time for one more question if there's somebody who has something they'd really like to ask the board.
Hi, my name is Isaac. Oh, okay, cool. I was wondering how you guys decide on what new education to implement. Because I know you guys earlier were talking about how like every 7 years you guys go through new curriculum, and I was wondering what makes you decide that is better or worse than what you already have.
That's a good question, and I'll kind of expand on that a little bit. But that's why we have a process to do that. Sometimes we renew a curriculum that we're already using because they've either updated some things in that curriculum or they've provided additional resources. You guys may be in curriculums now that have some hard copies of some things, but also has a web-based component to be able to access your curriculum. And so that's why it's really important to, when those come up, and I commend Tiffany Lambert, who's really getting us on cycle to be able to do that. We have some funding, and that's not an easy process to go through. That, like she said, that takes a year to do, and really, targeted committee to really kind of focus on what do we want to see in a curriculum. And so that's kind of that process. One thing that came to mind when you asked that is, what other curriculums or programs do we have? Many of you may know we didn't have a construction program here for many, many years. And so that was a desire of our community and kids who sat in your chair many years ago and say, construction is something that, I would like to see here. We started with one period 3 years ago or something, two years ago maybe. And now it's a full-time class. And again, when you talk about Mr. Ford out there, a lot of that's personality driven, and we're so thankful to have Mr. Ford leading our construction program. So when we decide additional curriculums or things to add, it's oftentimes from student voice. Many, many years ago, 2007, 2008-ish, there was a desire for a culinary arts program here. We had home ec kind of, but not culinary arts, and we have the best culinary arts facility in the state, I guarantee you, for a high school. And that came about by student voice and asking the board to say, this is what we want. So I hope that answered your question.
Can I add a little bit? When we did the bond, Sarah and I were on the bond committee, we asked students again what classes they wanted. And so that's kind of when we went out for the money, we were like, okay, we want a great culinary arts section. We want a good welding class. And so construction came up again. So we often ask students and families of what is wanted. And so that's part of the reason why hopefully you guys like the new CTE programs and buildings, but we always are wanting to hear what else to add.
Awesome. Do we have one more? Yeah, go ahead.
Earlier you mentioned how there's not really money that can be set aside for like facilities and kind of just struggling with funding in general. Is there ever thought to do more fundraisers with volunteer opportunities, especially for students, that could also maybe offer like pirate points?
That's a very good question. I think there's a lot of fundraising that happens. One thing that I'd like to point to, if I may take a moment to, the field, the football field, the turf field, that was not something that was part of the bond. But there was definitely some desire, and Mr. Earhart really wanted to make that happen. And so we got that field as a result of fundraising. And Mr. Earhart and others worked extremely hard to make that happen. So that's a great example of when there's enough desire and momentum and someone who can lead the charge, who's capable and motivated to make it happen. That's a great example of a positive outcome from a fundraising type effort. So there's always consideration for fundraising for things like that. The other thing is just understanding what the school district can do, and then what are things that are more of a fundraising type of thing from students and community, and that's an important thing. For example, my daughter just started kindergarten. I went to the PTA meeting and they were talking about wanting this or that. And I'm going, well, that's more of a safety thing. That really should be the school district. And, the PTA can raise money for enrichments and things like that. So yeah, always. And I would say, talk to your teacher, talk to Ms. Cross, if there's something that you're curious about, and go from there. But as a board, we always welcome fundraising opportunities, and we're really proud of the things that have come about as a result of those efforts. So if I may, Mr. Cornett, do the students have an opportunity to earn articulated credit for this class? Do they take any? Okay.
Thank you. That is correct. These students, if twos may pursue academic credit from Southern Oregon University as
Awesome.
they complete the AP curriculum.
Okay.
And
do
that's
they have-
supplemental to the AP test if they choose to take it.
Okay, so just completing the class, they have an opportunity to earn credit.
That is correct. They would
Okay.
have already committed to whether or not they want to do that. But yes,
Okay.
the course itself is aligned with SOU academic credit.
Awesome. And then they can take an exam and earn further credit.
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. So when I was in high school, I took AP classes just because I wanted to challenge myself. And so I encourage you, if you don't know about that, if you're in other AP classes, or even if you're not sure you're going to go to college yet, take advantage of those opportunities to earn college credit while you're in high school. So I encourage you to look into that, because I can't tell you how many people I know. Mr. Barry's daughter graduated in 2.5 years, right? Because she built up so many credits. So even if you're not sure what you're going to do, you're on the fence, while you have those opportunities, take advantage of them and reach out to Mr. Cornett, reach out to your counselors, to anybody here at the school who can help you take advantage of those. It's really important that you at least know that it exists and you know how to access it. So, and then the other thing I would say, just today we appointed our student reps, and we are really working hard. It's important to the board that student voice is present and a part of the decision-making process for everything that we do. And we understand that you only get one shot. You get 12 years of K through 12, you get 4 years of high school. And so I would say take advantage of it and work through your student reps, come to board meetings. If there's things that you care about, that you're passionate about, we want to hear about it. And we want to support you however we can in any effort that we can, make your educational experience better and best set you up for success after school. So, we want to make it more than just here's how homecoming went. If there's a policy or something that you're passionate about that you want to see for a positive change for your peers and yourself, we want to hear from you. So I really appreciate you all coming today and your incredibly thoughtful questions. And I always, whenever I hear old people complain about kids these days, I always tell them, you have no idea how awesome kids are these days. They're way better than we were back in the day. So thank you for caring, for being involved, and for your wonderful, thoughtful questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Take care.
I think these guys might need some pizza or donuts here some day to
yeah.
Does that sound good? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. All right, facilities and bond update.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Wanted to talk about the construction building coming from the Ford Family Foundation. In your blue folders, you got my facilities newsletter, and I just had a couple things to add. One, we're taking the Bond Oversight Committee and the Culver Sports Park group, and we're trying to combine a we're trying to create a new group that would be a facilities oversight group to handle the remaining seismic projects, the Culver Sports Park design, and then future projects throughout the district. In my next newsletter, I'll be hoping for people from the other facilities, the other schools, just so we can hear their input for future upgrades and things so that we can stay ahead of the curve. And then the other thing I wanted to discuss was Talent Elementary. We had hoped to do the seismic upgrade next summer. After speaking with our consultants, the lack of materials, the lack of labor, they're suggesting that we wait until the summer of 2024. We will go ahead and get an architect an engineer on board so that we can start the design for that and then eventually go to bid and get a contractor in contract. But for right now, our plan is not to do the seismic next summer.
We also had a meeting last night and talked about the Culver Road project, and kind of that's still in process, I would say. We do have some media coverage, I think, coming out and talking about the highlights and the awesome opportunity we have, but also maybe a little pressure on getting that scheduled and a date scheduled to make sure we get that process done. We do have funding sources that have a time limit on them, so we'll need to do that. Yeah, and just appreciate kind of John's leadership, and I think just a general facilities group moving forward is just a good thing to have, because we have so many amazing facilities, but we also want to make sure we're maintaining them as well.
Thank you. On the Talent Elementary side, I mean, it's one of those things, it can only happen during the summer, right? So it's not like we either need to decide it's going to happen this summer or try again, basically.
That's
So,
correct.
yeah.
And what we've been told, just a quick example, roofing right now is 12 months out. Roofing is a huge part of the seismic upgrade. So even if we were to try to get it through the summer, we're not getting a roof until school's in session.
Yeah.
So it's just timing. We also kind of think that the prices may come back down as the supply chain picks back up. And then also after some of the construction, there's so many school districts right now that have bond projects, Sante's building on, just lots of big construction. And so hopefully we'll catch it at the tail end and prices will come down.
Makes sense. And I, for one, appreciate your thoughtful management of all these things. It's a lot to consider and a lot to deal with. So, and we're here to support however we can.
I will say, because I doubt that you guys, the interest rates on the bond money that we do have set aside have risen. I believe this time last year, they're at 0.45%. And as of last month, they rose to 2%. So that is, I mean, we are banking money towards those projects, even though we're having to wait.
That's great. Thank you. Financial update?
Yeah, you have a report, and I actually do want to highlight something that will give you a good visual about where we could be at this time. If you look at number 1 on the state school fund there, right below that is the House bill for the 21-22 school year. We just got that. We can't put it in the last school year because we've closed those books and we have an audit coming up next week. But if you look at that, that's $2.4 million. Right below that is the 22-23 allocation, $4.3 million. And if you go all the way down to look at the ending fund balance, we're at 7.7. So if you take those two top lines out of there, you would see what the ending fund balance would be, which would be a gigantic challenge. And so that's the things that we have to really look at moving forward. That pretty much almost wipes out that ending fund balance at the bottom. And so right now, Yasmin is working on the audit, which is, coming up. We'll have the auditors at our facility next week. And so she's doing a good job with that. But we also are looking at when we have to spend those. We do have to spend the 21-22 funds this year, which we've already allocated. We're not sure about the 4.3 if we need to spend it by the end of this year. If we do, we'll have to, we can allocate it to certain areas, but we're hoping for another year for that. So that's it.
Any questions on the financial report?
So since this goes through 2025, this is 1, 2 of 4 years.
Yeah, they technically
They
counted
counted
part of
part
that.
of
So
that,
they, when they say 5 years, it was really 4 months and 4 years and 3 months. So, but yeah, so we'll have another biennium for the funding.
I apologize. I accidentally closed out of my board book, so I have to log back in. But one of the questions that I had was when you say we have to spend it this year, what is that? That means you kind of supplement, right? You're spending that money first type of thing and then reserving funds we
Yeah.
already had.
We look at what we've purchased and where we are, and we allocate that money, and then that money goes to the general fund. So,
Okay.
you know, and we want to try to, and with the best interest of the grant, and the reason we got the grant is, you know, look at things that we may have had to cut, and put that money towards those types of things. But
okay. Do you anticipate a budget amendment will have to come before
No.
the board? Okay.
You know, I'm not sure. It'll have to see where we are in appropriations in May and June, and we may have to do that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Legislative OSBA update.
I was just going to say a quick plug. Our legislative roadshow is Monday. And show up. It will be great. And then start looking at for OSBA conference information.
Anything else? Nothing to add? Okay. Almeda Fire update.
nothing to add there.
Okay. I was going to see if Polly, I'll ask her when she comes back if she's got anything to add. Audit committee appointment. Does this have to be a vote type of thing, or do we typically do just volunteers for the audit committee?
We typically do volunteers.
Okay. Can we voluntold Rick and then have a backup in case Rick can't do it?
We usually have two.
Okay.
So I would say maybe two in a backup. I
Okay.
don't know. We could probably do
Sure.
one in a backup, but
Okay. Does anybody have a burning desire to be on the audit committee?
When is it meeting and for how long?
Yeah, so this is, I don't want to confuse you. The auditors come next week. That's not the commitment of the audit committee. We will probably meet in December sometime, is when we get that report. And then either in the December meeting or January meeting, the whoever that representative reports out to the board.
Well, I'm happy to participate. I think I did it last year, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly. I'm happy to do that again, and I would love for Rick to join me. We'll just see where Rick's at, and then if we need somebody else, we'll revisit this if that works for everyone. Okay.
and I can back up. I can be a backup
Awesome.
too.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Did you have anything, Polly, on Almeda Fire? Okay. All right. The next agenda is there for your review. Did anyone have any questions about the next draft agenda?
I thought we were going to talk about the policy, for lack of a better way to say it, the gun policy. Is it on here?
It's not. We decided to just with everything going on with Rick, that was something he definitely really wanted to participate in. And there's some question about whether he'll be able to participate in the next meeting. And so we're just kind of delaying that until we know for sure that Rick can join us, because that's something he's especially passionate about. So that works for everybody.
And I won't be at that next meeting either, and I'd like to be in that.
Yeah.
Just so I know. And Tiffany will be on vacation, so Jessica will be, sitting in this chair.
So
So
we may we may look at, just for logistics purposes, we may look at pushing it back until everybody can be here.
I appreciate that update.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I've chatted with Rick about that as well, so he's good with that.
Great. Any other questions? All right. I want to thank you all for your thoughtfulness and support of our students. This was a really, really awesome meeting. And gosh, our students are great, aren't they? It's really good to see them and hear from them. So thank you. Thank you, staff. I think Kaylin had to leave, but She did a great job with this whole process. So I'm sure we'll be discussing student reps till the end of time and ways to make the process better. But it was really good today. So thank you all. And we're adjourned.